So, hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Rita, and I am the American Spaces Director at the U.S. Embassy, Ghana. I am working together on this program with my colleagues, Andrew, the American Spaces Outreach Coordinator, and Archibald, the American Spaces Assistant. American Spaces provides access to current and reliable information about the United States through book collections, internet access, and events and activities for everyone. Normally, we'll be meeting face-to-face either at our American Center at the US Embassy in Accra or our American Corner in North Legon. But due to the global pandemic, our spaces are temporarily closed. The good news is through virtual programming, we are able to reach beyond Accra. We'd love to know where everyone is viewing from. Let us know which region you are tuning in from in the comment box below. Thanks to you all for joining today's event. During the session, please type all your comments or questions on the session in the comment box below. Today, we will be discussing an inspirational topic titled Exploring STEM Careers with Dr. Augustina Koduah. Dr. Augustina Koduah is a lecturer and researcher based at the Department of Pharmacy, Pharmacy Practice and Clinical Pharmacy, University of Ghana, School of Pharmacy. She is a public health pharmacist and has a Bachelor of Pharmacy from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, a Master of Science from the London School of Economics and Political Science, and a Doctor of Philosophy from the Wageningen University and Research Center. She is a fellow of the Ghana College of Pharmacists and secretary to the Public Health Faculty. We are honored to have Dr. Augustina Koduah with us this afternoon. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Augustina Koduah for this afternoon session. Doc, you're welcome. You have the platform.
Thank you very much for the introduction. And
you're welcome.
Yes, good afternoon to all our participants online. So this afternoon, we are going to discuss STEM, and we are looking at how to explore the potential careers around STEM. By way of introduction, we will go into what is STEM. We will look at the STEM subjects and then the potential careers. We will try to unpack the acronym STEM and then look at the subjects that will help build our skills within STEM and then the potential careers. Okay, so what is STEM? As I said earlier on, this is an acronym and it stands for science, technology, engineering, and maths. Okay. Now, this acronym is created to help build the skills of individuals, so students, in problem solving, to help them build the thinking, critical thinking abilities, so logical thinking as well. And this skills is developed through studying science, technology, engineering, and maths. And we are going to unpack these, as I said. Now, if we take STEM as a whole, this concept really is addressing educational policies when it comes to curriculum, choices in schools. And this is to promote interest and skills in science and technology, in engineering and maths. So when we say science, what do we mean? Science refers to, there are actually 3 branches within science. So we have the natural science, and then we have the applied science. The natural science deals, for example, with biology, chemistry, physics. Applied science, you can think of electronics, you can think of statistics as part of applied science. We also have social science, but in STEM, we don't add the social science to this concept of STEM. Social science is grouped under humanities. So for our discussion today, when we come to science, we are looking at the natural science and the applied science. And this science involves exploring things within our environments, how to look for solutions for problems. But really, it looks at the systematic way of obtaining knowledge through observations and experiments, okay? So science basically involves experiments and then observation. You observe something, but in a systematic manner, so that we can be able to reproduce, okay? Now, when we come to technology, technology is the second acronym in STEM. So technology is also the application of the scientific methods or the knowledge that we have acquired from the science and using this in a practical manner, okay? So it's a special kind of knowledge that we will use to solve practical problems. So for example, in designing a building or having an irrigation system, you're applying the science, the knowledge to solve problems, okay? So when we move to engineering, the third arm of STEM is a branch of science, okay? But it's connected or is concerned with the design, building, the use of engines, machines, and structures. Now, with all that we've said, you realize that the different acronyms within STEM is interrelated. So the science, the technology, and engineering are all interrelated. The final letter, which is M, deals with maths. Mathematics is around us and is in everything that we do. When we talk about maths broadly, it's the study of numbers, shapes, patterns. It deals with the logic of quantity, shapes, arrangements, okay? And this forms part of the STEMs. It builds your skills in logical thinking, systematic way of doing things, and also problem solving. So in a way, we have summarized what is STEM. We've looked at the acronym, and then we have looked in depth, trying to explain the different letters within this acronym. So we are going to zoom into the different subjects that at different levels that one can study to help us build our skills in problem solving, critical thinking, and logical thinking, okay? So let's move into the subjects. Based on our context here in Ghana, we are going to zoom into primary level. So at the primary level and then the senior high level, what are the subjects that are being taught currently to build our skills in STEM, okay? To give us the choices to look forward into potential careers. So we come back to maths. So at the primary and the junior high level, we have maths and we have topics as space, shape, probability, still coming back to numbers. We do some construction. On all these things, we look at the basic operations. So addition, subtraction, division, equal to sign, and percentages, okay? And these are very important when it comes to mathematics. Now, moving on, we have integrated science. So integrated science is taking the different aspects of science that we talked about. So we have the natural sciences, the biology, the chemistry, the physics. We'll try and discuss that as we go along. And then the applied science. We talked about electronics, agriculture. Integrated science tries to put all this together, okay? So at this level, you'll be learning diversity, interaction of matters, and thus you'll be looking at the ecosystem. You'll be discussing chemical elements. You also will look at infectious diseases. You look at plants. Not only that, there's also focus on the cycles of plants and animals, okay? We'll look at the different systems within the human being. We'll look at maybe respiratory, reproduction, circulatory systems within the human being. And going beyond that, we also will study solar systems. We look at different types of energies, okay, heat, energy, sources of energy. So within this level, we are looking at maths and then integrated science, trying to put the different components of the natural sciences and applied sciences together. Moving on from the primary level into the senior high level, it's a bit more specific. So we go in depth into the general sciences, which is more of the natural sciences. So then we have the biology, and the biology is the in-depth study of life and living organisms. Okay, so at this level, the student is introduced into the different aspects of life and living organisms. So we are looking at animals, you're looking at plants in the world. Okay, so there's a picture here to give us a rough idea. You're looking at the different components of the animal or living plants. When it comes to physics, physics is also an interesting part. It's also a natural science, and physics really deals with the study of matter. Okay, so, and the motion and how they are able to, matter is able to behave in space and time. Now, and this is to give us an understanding of things within the universe. Okay, physics gives us a deep understanding of matter and things within our universe. And then we have the third subject, which is chemistry. Chemistry is a study of elements, components. So we are looking at atoms, we are looking at molecules, ions. How do they behave? How do they interact with each other or other substances? Within these interactions, what is the output? What is coming out of these interactions? So we have these core subjects. So we have the biology, the physics, and the chemistry. Then we have the elective maths. It's also a STEM subject, and this goes in depth. It builds upon the maths that we've done at the lower level, so the primary and the junior high school. So you are looking more in depth into geometry, vectors, you are doing calculus, okay? And you are looking still at probability and statistics. Okay. And as you move on with these core subjects, at the senior high, if you are a science student, where your focus is on the STEM subjects, in addition to the core subjects that we just described, you still will have to learn your English, you still learn maths and the integrated science that we talked about. So building on the integrated science that you started learning in the junior primary and the junior high school, you do social studies and also information communication technology. So these are the courses or the subjects that one will have to go through at the senior high level if you have interest in STEM. And this all is building your capacity for critical thinking, is building your capacity for logical thinking and problem solving, okay? Now, with this, with this systematic movement, you move from the primary to junior high to senior high, you've gone through the examinations and you've passed, and you want to move to the university level. What are some of the programs that are available? As I said, STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, is geared at solving day-to-day practical problems, okay? And they are exciting courses at the university level, and these are geared towards to make our lives better, okay? So we are going to zoom into the courses at the university level. There are a number of them, but we'll try and pick most of them as we go along, okay? So we are looking at the Bachelor of Science. We are taking courses at the university that builds upon our skills that we have gained at the lower level, we have gained at the secondary level, and going into the university and looking at specific programs that one can study, okay? So if we pick agriculture-related programs, I try to add some pictures to give us a sense of what this program will entail at the university. So for example, if you take agriculture, it's the art and science of cultivating the soil. So if you look at this first picture, it's the idea of the student will be exposed to theories and concepts around how to cultivate the soil, how to raise livestock, okay? The other program that one can look at is natural resources management. And in this, the student is also exposed to how to ensure the sustainable use of our major natural resources. So the land, the air, the forest, etc. We can also look at post-harvest technology. And this really exposes students to techniques that can be applied to agricultural commodities, okay? So for example, after harvesting, when it comes to preserve the products, control, storage, packaging, distributing. So the program exposes the students to these ideas or techniques involved in post-harvest. We also have direct and meat science technology. Of course, this will deal also with equip students with the science and technology when it comes to the production of milk products such as yogurts. It also deals with ideas around livestock, grading and evaluating of meat products. We also have under agriculture related programs, landscape design, okay? So it's not only, this will build the skills of the students to understand how to plan, to design, and to manage not only urban areas, but rural areas as well. The environmental spaces that we have, how can we manage them? An interesting also program at the university is agro business, and thus it deals with applying the theories and the concepts or practice of management into agricultural industry, and this in a way to lower the cost or involved in producing food products, okay? Now, we also have agricultural biotechnology, and this exposes students into what are the, for example, the chemical processes that are relating to plants. So what are the molecular markers, genetics that we can do to improve upon the products? These are the plants, okay? And then we have aquaculture. So for those of us who are interested in coastal inland fishing management or aqua diversity, there are programs at the university that one can explore, okay? And as I said, there are a lot more programs. So we'll look a little more into the sciences, programs relating to biochemistry. So biochemistry, it's, as you can see, is a blend of the biology we talked about, studying living organisms, and the chemistry, looking at the molecules and the atoms. So really, this is studying the chemical processes within and related to living organisms. So you're looking at the functions of the cells, okay, and the molecular basis of living processes. Then we have also food science and technology. Okay, so you are developing the skills of the students to appreciate in the field of nutrition, okay, food science. How do you apply technology to improve upon the food products? Then we have biological sciences, okay. So biological sciences is, you are studying in depth into the life and living organisms. You are looking at their cycles, adaptation into their environment. It has some aspects of biochemistry, it has some aspects of genetics and microbiology. One can also study environmental science, and this also exposes the students to things pertaining to the environment, trying to integrate the physical, biological, and information that we have within the environment. But remember, STEM programs or courses are meant to solve problems. Okay, So when we come to chemistry, we talked about chemistry, we talked about the atoms and the compounds. You can do chemistry or study it at a higher level within the university and looking at the various chemical reactions, the study of matter, the interactions, and there are several branches within chemistry. You can have inorganic chemistry, and this really zooms into compounds that do not contain carbon. So for example, going in depth into metals, okay, and some minerals. Or you can study organic chemistry that has focus on carbon containing matter. You can also look at computer science. And in this, students are exposed to the theories and concepts around computation in trying to come up with apps, designs, but all this is geared towards solving problems, as we keep saying. Then we have the earth science. You are looking at the environment and how this will help the knowledge that one gains from studying things within the environment, so water, air, and how you can understand the physical and the chemical constitution of the earth and then use it to solve problems that may come up, okay? Still moving forward into potential programs at the university for STEM, we have mathematics. So those of us who have key interest in numbers, in shapes, in patterns, you can also explore this program at the university. And here students are exposed really not only to the numbers, but how do you apply these theories in a practical manner, okay, to influence or to solve problems. Then we have the statistics. Statistics goes beyond, it's part of mathematics, but it focuses more on collecting data, information, analyzing this information and applying them in a scientific manner, okay, for a social problem. So usually the statistics will help us to have information to inform the decisions that we make. We talked about physics earlier on. We've done physics, we do it in the secondary level. You can also take this up in the university, and then you are, as an advanced, you are introduced to advanced form of study of things in the universe, okay? So you are studying more into light, you are looking at radiations, heat, sound, etc. Then we have actuarial science. Actuarial science deals with the methods of understanding current scenarios and coming up with potential risk and how this risk can be managed. Okay, so you find individuals, they are trained, and in the long term, you find them in insurance settings. So they are able to calculate and understand better current scenarios and then identify potential risk. Some of us are interested in climate, in science and the weather, and you have an opportunity to study this at the university. So you are exposed to what is within our climate, within our environment, and how is this affecting or impacting on our lives. We can also look at information technology, where you have focus on how to improve communication. How do we come up with hardware? How do we come up with applications to make information technology a bit easier for us? We are all geared towards making life a bit easier, improving upon life, solving problems, practical problems, okay? Now, when we zoom in further, you realize that STEM is not only relating to the chemistry and the physics and the biology, but there are other related courses that you still will need skills of logical and critical thinking to be able to pursue them at the university level. So architecture, for example, which is also the act and practice of designing and constructing buildings, okay? Making use of space, improving life, creating space for all activities, okay? So this is something you can also study at the university, and you need a STEM background to be able to study architecture at the university level. We also have environment-related programs such as construction, technology, and management. And they also is involved in planning and coordinating building projects. Okay. We also have human settlement planning. How do we space out, or you are exposed to practical way of managing or planning a society. Okay, we have land economy. You deal still with planning, but it has more of how do you ensure that this unlimited resources that we have, which is the land, how do we make the best use out of it? So students are exposed to concepts that will help them to understand better the land that we have. How do we demarcate them in a way that we are able to make the best out of it? And of course, we have this real estate, building, coming up with building and designing. So you realize that all these courses in a way are related, but still are a bit specific in a way. Okay. Moving on, we are zooming in into engineering. And it's very interesting because engineering gives us the knowledge and the understanding that we have from the science and the technology and the maths to help build things. So we can build machines, engines, structures, okay? So the courses at the university gives us specific passion. If you have a passion for agriculture and you still have a passion for STEM courses or STEM subjects, then you can put your passion and your interest together and pursue a program in agricultural engineering, where the students will be exposed to building and designing of machines to support agriculture, okay? Or if you look at chemical engineering, where the student is also exposed to the design of chemical plants, machines in the industry. You can also think of civil engineering. This will zoom the students into building structures, the design and construction and maintenance. It's not only the construction, but maintenance of physical and natural structures. We also have the geometric or geodetic engineering. And here students are exposed. So this is the picture to depict. Students are exposed to the ideas and the science behind spacing or spatial information, using geographic data, collecting this information to inform decisions when it comes to building bridges, for example. So based on this information that they gather, they can inform the work that other people do, okay? We have mechanical engineering. Students
Dr. Koduah, and
yes.
this is, your presentation is excellent.
Thank you.
I think we have a question from Hamda Isa Toby. With all the areas you've mentioned, he wants to know, he says Ghana has produced a lot of applied and natural scientists. What can be done to absorb these resources, the human resources in general, to help solve the numerous problems of our country? He wants to find out what are some of the things that can be done.
Okay, thank you very much for your question. Very interesting and pertinent question. And I think I'll just go ahead and answer this. I agree fully. And even by looking at what we are discussing now, the different programs that students can explore. Now, the issue is that when you pursue these programs and you come out of the university, is the country able to absorb all the knowledge, put it into use? And as we go along, we realize that STEM programs, it's flexible in a way. So students are able to work in different environments. Now, if you are trained as an engineer, for example, you don't only have, because you have the skills of problem solving, logical thinking, okay, critical thinking, you can also be exposed to managerial positions. Okay, so I think sometimes the downside is that we assume that the fact that we are scientists, we should only focus on science-oriented careers. Okay, so even though some of the science programs at the universities may not be hotcakes, so if you realize I'm really discussing things that people don't usually pursue at the university, the hotcakes will be the health sciences, being a doctor, a nurse, a pharmacist, because there's a ready market for it. But within the other sciences, one can create a niche. So for example, if you are a civil engineer, what can you do on your own or to also help solve problems within your community? I think the idea is not always to wait for the opportunity to come up, but we ourselves as scientists being trained with problem-solving skills to also go out to solve problems on our own. And hopefully by the end of this lecture, we would have noticed that STEM really gives us this diversity, the skills. Yeah, moving forward.
Oh,
I hope
you.
this answers his question. If not, we can talk more when we get to the careers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
So
for
we
the answer.
can go on. We got to electrical and electronic engineering, and still part of engineering, but here the student is exposed to the different, the design and the application of equipment, devices, systems, but with use around electricity and electronics. Food processing engineering, students are exposed to the practical application of science. Okay, so here I try to put in some pictures. How do we process the food that we have, the packaging, the storage, okay? So you realize that even by discussing these different programs at the universities, there are more options open to us as STEM scientists or students when it comes to careers, okay? So still within the engineering field, we have aerospace, and thus students are exposed or introduced to the design or development of aircrafts, spacecrafts. We have petroleum engineering, which is recently added to the different courses at the universities because of the oil that we found within our shores, okay? So with this, students are also exposed to the production of hydrocarbons. We are looking at crude oil, we are looking at natural gases. We have telecommunication engineering. Okay, these students are also exposed to theories or involving the electrical or computing support needed to enhance telecommunication systems. Okay. Then we have geological. Geological really, it's applying geology using engineering to improve upon geology. We are looking at still our environment, our soil, how do we improve upon it using engineering? Remember the design, we are looking at machines, we are looking at structures. We have the metallurgical engineering. This deals with students are exposed to different components of metal, the theories and the practicals, how this is used in mining, extraction, design, and the processing of metals. Of course, we have computer engineering. You realize that some of these programs are quite common to us, and it goes to buttress the question that was asked. Because as we study, we want to move in straight into careers. So we want to be sure that the things that we are studying at the university, we will be employed immediately when we are done. But as I said, our interest in science also goes beyond that, and it matches our passion. So if you have passion, for example, in aircrafts, I would advise that you pursue aerospace engineering, because then you are matching your passion with your interest. And then you will know that when you are out, you will definitely, with this passion and all, will get a career that you can pursue. Now we move into the health sciences. This is quite popular, it's quite known, and people have a general idea as to what goes into this training. And it's because we see a lot more of them within our settings. Okay, so we have the doctor of pharmacy, where individuals are trained to become experts in medicine. So they are exposed to the pharmacology, how drugs react within your body. They are exposed to chemistry, pharmaceutical chemistry. They are exposed to pharmacognosy, which also deals with the herbal parts of it. Okay, so all this in the end, the one you are trained, and then one becomes a pharmacist. Okay. We also have in the health sciences, this was definitely more than 10 years ago introduced, it's called herbal medicine. Students are exposed to the different active ingredients within herbal preparations or herbs, and how this can help cure diseases. So they actually study this at the university level. Then we have the training that will lead to a medical officer. So you do the human biology, and then you have a clinical program after that, and this will give you a degree in to become a doctor. Okay, and so usually these health sciences courses will vary. It depends on. So there's another question. Okay, can we classify geography as STEM?
So Doc, you can, okay, you can go on if you want. Then when you are done with this one, we'll quickly pass the question on.
Okay. Now, geography, remember when we talk about STEM, we talked about integrated science. And in integrated science, we zoom into how different fields of science are being taught together. So if you are learning, for example, climate science, you definitely will have to talk about geography, which deals with our environment. Okay, so even though geography may not necessarily be a specific STEM subject, aspects of geography are implied in science. So if you are studying the earth, even if with engineering, the examples that we've given, if I'm looking at geological engineering, geodetic engineering, I'm still going to have some part of geography in it. Okay. I hope that answers the question. Okay, so I can move on to the human sciences programs at the university.
Yes, please.
Okay, so we've talked about what the courses that you can do. So I'll say that if you pick the other programs that we've discussed, so we looked at agriculture, we've looked at the environment related courses, architecture, building technology, we've looked at engineering. Most of these courses, you have about 4 years on average to complete them. So when you start, you have 4 years doing different courses each year to complete. But with the health sciences, it depends. Some of the programs are 6 years, some of them are 3, some of them are 4 years. So for example, the doctor of pharmacy to become a human biology leading to a medical doctor, 6 years. Herbal medicine, you have to go through school for 4 years. We also have the medical laboratory technology. Now this exposes the students into the skills and theories in helping with diagnosis. So we all know when you go to the hospital, your blood sample is taken to the lab. So with the lab, you have the skills to try to understand what is happening within the blood sample or the sample that one has been given. We also have sports and exercise science. And I always say that some of us, we have great interest in football, for example, and then we want to match our passion with our interest in STEM, in science. So you can study sports and exercise science, for example, where you try to, you understand better how the human body works as an athlete. What are the things that one will have to go through, the exercise schedule, the food that you have to eat, to be able to obtain that stamina that you need as an athlete, okay? It's very important. Then we also have physiotherapy. This, of course, deals with the physical body, but looking at how You have to understand the physiology of the body, the different muscles and all. And students are exposed to this at the university level. And these are some of the courses that one can take within the health sciences. Now, when we moving on, as I said, with the health sciences, the courses are a bit, is known because we see more of it. We see midwifery, nursing, you can branch into emergency nursing, we have dentist or dental surgery, and these are courses. We have a veterinary doctor. Okay, so I try to show some of these programs and things that when you are done, a career projection, more or less. Okay, so we have those sonography. It's to do with imaging and also helps with diagnosis, disease conditions. We have radiography. They go beyond just the imaging. They are doing X-ray. They are looking at the different fractures within the skeletal, the body, and then helping to make diagnosis. Okay, so these are some of the courses. And as I said earlier on, all the discussions that we've had, you realize that even within the careers, it's not just specific. Now, let's pick one of the programs that is quite familiar with us. So for example, if you are trained as a medical officer or you are trained as a doctor at the university level, when you come out, there are so many different specific areas that you can go into. You can become a surgeon, or you can move in to become a public health physician. You can concentrate on children. You can move in to concentrate on adults. So you realize that within STEM careers, there are huge employment opportunities.
Wow.
Yes. When you even take the engineering, because of the skills that one builds through STEM, you are able to fit in even at managerial levels. And I was using this as an example that we have colleagues who were trained as pharmacists in the university, and in the end, they become managers within banks. Or I know people who were trained as geodetic engineers, and then they move on to become bank managers, or they become within the banking sector. They have a niche. So for example, they are looking at vehicle assets, and because of the skills that they have from their engineering background or the science background and the problem thinking skills, they are able to apply this within a different setting, which is the banking sector. So this goes to buttress the fact that the skills that we build at this level is so flexible and can be used. So I want us to unpack the STEM careers ideas, that when you are a scientist, it's fixed in that you can move into other settings because of the skills that you have. Beyond that, you have the opportunity to make a difference. Remember, from the beginning, we've been talking about critical thinking, logical thinking, problem solving. We are solving problems. We want to make life better. So you have the opportunity to improve upon life, whether it's to do with health sciences, engineering, agriculture, our environment. And of course, you make a living. Very important. We want to, with our interest, of course, and our passion, we still want to make a living from all that we have studied from primary through secondary to the university level. Okay. So let's just look briefly at some of the examples. I'm sure some of the examples just came up to you when we're discussing the different programs. Okay. So I just want us to highlight some of these and just buttress on how these career examples can be used, or you can have a look at. So for example, if we take a chemical engineer, remember we talked about designing chemical plants, but beyond that, you can also improve, come up with new medicines. Okay, you can, household products, all the household products that we have are designed by chemical engineers. We've talked about architects. So it's not only engineering, but also architects, design of buildings. You need your mathematics to be able to calculate the weight of the structures that you put on the bridge. okay? And you need these skills that you have developed studying STEM. We talked about the statistician, okay? They are able to collect information. This information is being used to help us support decisions, okay, which is very important. And this is a career that one can pursue. Moving on, we can look at a computer scientist, a web designer. Now, most of the things, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, are being done online. And this creates an opportunity. We can go into designing websites or apps to improve how human beings are able to interact with each other online. Okay? If you have interest in marine biology, you can pursue that. Marine biologist, where you want to study in depth the organisms within the sea, okay, how they interact and the impact of it on the human. You can also have passion for designing vehicles. You want to look at cars, you want to look at lorries, and you want to know how these are done. You already have the skills to design. Remember, as an engineer, you have the skills for structures and machines. And this is something that we can look at. And currently, there are some industries coming up where we have cars being developed in Ghana from scratch. So if you pursue this at the university, then it's possible to get a career in this field, okay? So with the examples, space scientist, robotics, civil engineer, and of course, the most popular that we all know will be the health sciences. A nurse, you can become a midwife, a doctor, a pharmacist. And you can work in different settings within the health sector, okay? You can become a neurosurgeon, a dentist, a physician assistant. So this is just to give us an idea that when we pursue our interest in STEM related subjects, career options are endless, okay? So just to sum up.
Doc,
Yes.
on that note, that very last statement, pursuing careers in sciences, I think that was the last note. There's a question.
Okay.
And one of our listeners want to know what can be done to encourage girls to pursue STEM careers traditionally considered as male jobs. This question has always come up. It has always come up. So what can be done?
This is a perfect question addressed to me.
Yes, you being a lady.
Exactly. So I think that this is one of the reasons why we are having this talk, okay? Traditionally, even with engineering, you realize that even within the STEM subjects, girls tend to move towards the biologies. So, and then the males or the boys tend to move towards the engineering or the mathematics. But as I said, it still leads to problem solving, critical thinking. So if you still have interest there, the chains are broken, my dear. There's nothing in science that this is just for boys and this is for girls. We can do beyond all that. We can still study our maths and do engineering. We have women in engineering. We have women as neurosurgeons, okay, pursuing their dreams. Remember, I keep talking about the passion and the interest. If you have the passion and interest for it, no one can limit you. And I think I stand here to encourage all girls with interest in science to pursue it. If it's engineering, even if it's sports and science, sports and exercise science, where people may think, well, it's sports and it's mainly for boys, a girl can pursue it. And the career options are endless, as I keep saying. Yes, so I encourage all girls to be interested in the sciences. We want to make a difference, okay? We want to solve problems. We want to be innovative, come up with new breakthroughs, whether to cure diseases, whether to improve upon life, okay? We want to protect our environment. improve upon infrastructure. So as a girl, as a boy, you can become an architect, an engineer, a medical officer, a pharmacist, a lab technologist, and it's endless. But I want us to, as we think through the STEM courses and the programs, I want us to continuously try to match this with our interest and our passion. Okay, so we have another.
Okay. Another question for you.
Yes.
Supposing, yes, another listener wants to know this. I think you mentioned this earlier on. Supposing the person is saying, supposing I read arts, business, in the senior high school, and have strong grades in integrated science and core math, can I pursue a STEM-based program in the university?
My answer,
Is it possible?
yes. So my answer will be yes, but not all STEM courses. Okay. So you remember that?
Yes.
Yes. So the answer is yes, but not, you cannot do all of it because each program at the university has specific criteria for admission. So let's use a typical pharmacy, for example. You need to have done chemistry, physics, biology. So then you should have done the general sciences if you want to do pharmacy. You should have done the general sciences if you want to go to medical school. Okay. But if you move on to the different, for example, the environment-related programs, architecture, building technology, and all. Remember, the architecture is a science and practice and act of building. So if you are a business or art-oriented, you did that at the senior high level with your good grades in integrated science and maths. And if you are able to meet the requirements, all the programs have specific requirements. If you meet the requirements, of course, you can pursue that at the university level. So it's very important that we are doing this so that if you know, you plan that this is your interest, this is your future career, rethink the subject that you pursue at the secondary level. Because that may be a hindrance to a potential course program that you want to pursue at the university level. Because they all have specific criteria, admission criteria. Yes.
Okay. So supposing I want to be a geologist. So what subject should I pursue to be able to do that, to offer that in the university?
Yes, I'm sure the different universities may have different cutoff points for in terms of the grades, but you definitely will need your mathematics, which is core. Everyone will do mathematics. You will need your integrated science, which everyone will do at that level. And as someone asks these questions, geology, for example, if you've done geography and you have good grades, because all the STEM courses that we've discussed, they have cut-off points of grades that one can be admitted to pursue this program in the university. Okay, so even for the health sciences, which is quite popular, you remember that if you go into the university's website and you look at the courses, they will say a pass, or you should pass chemistry, biology, science. But of course, a pass is not, you probably will need A. You have to do extremely well, because if everyone who passes want to go there, then the bar will be going a bit higher. So it's very good to try to, with your passion, your interest, go in depth, look at the universities. What are the programs are they offering? What are the cutoff points? What are the subjects that are required of me to study? And then you do that so that it will be easier for you to gain admissions into the university.
So another question, please. If somebody wants to pursue science in the various sciences, which is the university that would be best for the person to choose at the SSS level I think it's at the senior high school level. Which university would you recommend that the person will be able to have a lot more flexibility to pursue the sciences in?
Okay, so I'll say thank you, and I'll say this is a difficult question. This is because what our advice is that you take time to go through the different universities that we have in Ghana. We have the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science,
the
University of Ghana. We have the Cape Coast University, Allied and Health University. There are several universities in Ghana. And this is just to mention a few of the public universities.
Yes.
It would be good to go into these universities and look at the specific programs and see where the cutoff points, the subjects that are required, and see whether this meets your needs, your interest, remember, and your passion. Okay, and this should inform which of the universities you should select.
Okay.
But it will be difficult to just say, oh, take this one. No. But as an individual, based on your passion, your interest, and then going into their websites and looking at the different programs that they have, which one will best suit you as an individual and the career that you want to pursue in the future?
I think time is not on our side, but it's been so interesting. I'm beginning to even think whether to go back and start thinking of pursuing some science. Thank you so much, Augustina. Thank you. Thank you for your time and wonderful insights on STEM. We are so grateful. Great information. We are so grateful. Thank you. Thank you for the information. Do you have anything you want to leave with us? Just a few sentences before we wrap up.
Yes, I do. STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics is interesting. Okay, so
like
the career options are endless.
Okay, thank you.
Passion and interest is very important. And I wish you all the best in whatever you do and whichever of these that we've discussed that you want to pursue in the future.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful insights once again. And thank you all for joining today's session. Before ending today's program, I would like to tell you about an online resource that you may find helpful, eLibrary USA. eLibrary USA is a state-of-the-art digital library with 9 premier electronic databases that include digital newspapers, magazines, journals, videos, and dissertations. Usually, this resource is only available to use in person at American spaces. But with the global pandemic resulting in the closing of our American spaces, we are opening access to this amazing resource to the public. If you are interested, sign up using the link that can be found in the comments section below. Find the link in the comments box below, and then you can use the form to request access to the databases. And that concludes our program for today. Please follow us on Facebook at US Embassy Ghana for more amazing virtual programming. Thank you all for joining us today. Until next time, please stay safe. Observe all personal hygiene. Observe all personal hygiene protocols. Practice social distancing and wear a mask in public. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you all. Thank you.